The Osireion temple in Abydos lies 15 meters below the level of all other Egyptian structures. It is built from colossal granite blocks without a single original inscription. Mainstream science calls it a cenotaph, but before us is something entirely different, frightening in its technological complexity.
The water that has flooded this cyclopean monument for centuries is not groundwater at all, as is commonly believed. Before us is a surviving part of an abandoned cooling system from an ancient hydraulic complex, a machine whose true scale and purpose are hidden beneath millennia of Nile silt. Recall the official story. Egyptologists claim the Osireion was built by Pharaoh Seti I. But look at Seti's own elegant, richly decorated temple standing on the surface. Then shift your gaze to this stark, megalithic bunker in a deep pit. The difference in technological paradigms is obvious.
The Osireion is built from giant monoliths of red Aswan granite and quartzite. Some of the support columns weigh over 100 tons. They are positioned with astonishing precision, forming a strict geometric grid. There are no elegant bas-reliefs or frescoes here, only the bare, ruthless functionality of an industrial facility. Notice the polygonal masonry. The granite blocks are fitted together without mortar, forming a monolithic structure capable of withstanding colossal seismic and hydrodynamic loads. The pharaohs of the New Kingdom did not build in this style. This is the signature of a completely different, much older civilization. The floor of the Osireion is at an elevation that matched the groundwater level thousands of years before dynastic Egypt. Building a ritual pool doomed from the start to be flooded with dirty water is absolutely pointless. But what if water was the main working fluid of this complex? The central island of the Osireion is surrounded by a deep moat, fed by a highly complex system of supply channels. If we analyze this structure from the perspective of modern hydrodynamics, we see a perfect circuit for directed fluid circulation. This is not a tomb. It is a high-pressure reservoir. Researchers discovered specific wear marks on the granite blocks of the lower tier. This is not ordinary erosion from Nile floods or rain. The nature of the stone damage indicates prolonged exposure to a harsh chemical environment and high-speed fluid flows circulating in a closed loop. Chemical weathering of granite requires specific conditions. These traces suggest that more than just river water flowed through the channels of the Osireion. Complex physiochemical processes occurred here, possibly related to the separation of elements or the cooling of unknown types of reactors. The Egyptologists studiously ignore these engineering anomalies. They dismiss the complex geometry of the channels as religious symbolism, calling the complex a ritual pool for the resurrection mysteries. But physics does not obey myths. The dimensions of the blocks and the machining marks speak for themselves. Look closely at the joints of the megaliths. Some blocks still bear the marks of core drilling and saw cuts, left by a tool that cut through granite like butter. The thread pitch on these marks is unattainable for the copper saws and quartz sand supposedly used by the ancient Egyptians. The architecture of the Osireion is completely devoid of familiar human scale. Enormous steps, gigantic niches, massive granite slabs. Everything here is designed to withstand colossal vibrations. This is a classic vibration-damping foundation used today in the construction of heavy power plants and industrial pumping stations. The central platform features strange recesses that mainstream science calls slots for sarcophagi. However, their geometry and layout are perfectly suited for mounting massive stators or turbines. Before us are mounting points for heavy equipment that was dismantled or destroyed. Water flowed into the complex through underground conduits, passing through a system of locks. The difference in elevation created the necessary pressure. The current was directed to the central platform, activating hidden mechanisms. The Osireion operated as a giant hydrodynamic machine, generating power from the flow of water. Looking at the complex from above, its layout resembles a modern microchip or motherboard. Strict symmetry, precise transmission lines, distribution nodes. Ancient engineers thought in terms of efficiency and performance, crafting a masterpiece of utilitarian industrial design from eternal stone. No pharaoh would hide his greatest architectural triumph underground, depriving it of sunlight and spectators. Egyptian rulers suffered from megalomania. Their temples reached for the sky. The Osireion, however, was originally built as a sunken technical facility. The seismic resistance of this bunker is astonishing. The structural slabs weigh tens of tons, arranged to compensate for any ground shifts. This is overkill for a simple tomb, but it is absolutely essential if a machine operating inside is generating powerful low-frequency vibrations. We see only a stone skeleton. The metal, wiring, and mechanisms have long vanished, lost to the millennia or claimed by looters. Only the granite pillars remain, capable of outlasting eternity itself. It was this empty shell that the Egyptians of the New Kingdom discovered when clearing the sands of Abydos. Pharaoh Seti I did not build the Osireion. He merely found its ruins, unearthed part of the Cyclopean masonry, and ordered his own temple built nearby, at a safe height. He tried to claim the legacy of the gods, leaving a few clumsy inscriptions on the ancient granite. These inscriptions, carved with primitive chisels, stand in sharp contrast to the perfect geometry of the blocks themselves. They look like vandalism on the hull of a spaceship. The priests of Seti I did not understand the purpose of these walls. To them, this incomprehensible machine became a sacred place, the abode of a dead god. They called this place the Tomb of Osiris because they couldn't explain the nature of the colossal energy that once pulsed here. The myth of the dismembered god fit perfectly over the ruins of a dismantled mechanism. The technical node became an altar, and hydrodynamics gave way to theology. The lack of erosion from the Nile's normal flow on the upper levels proves the complex was abandoned and buried in sand long before the river changed its course. We are talking about a time frame of 10 or even 15,000 years ago. In that distant era, the climate of North Africa was different. The Sahara bloomed, and groundwater levels allowed this hydraulic installation to operate at full capacity. The Osireion was part of a global energy grid, traces of which we find worldwide in the form of megaliths. Nowadays, pumps drain water from the Osireion every day, so tourists can take beautiful photos. But the moment the power goes out, the ancient complex instantly fills with water, as if trying to return to its original working state. The machine is still waiting to be activated. We look at these granite blocks and refuse to believe our eyes. Official history offers us a fairy tale about slaves with copper chisels, ignoring the laws of physics, the strength of materials, and hydrodynamics. But stones cannot lie, unlike academic textbooks.
The Osireion is a silent rebuke to our pride, a hydraulic plant of pre-dynastic Egypt, whose creators possessed knowledge we are only just beginning to grasp. The pharaohs merely discovered this structure, forever losing the keys to the technologies of the past. The true masters of the Osireion remain in the shadows of civilization,